Another thing that comes up a lot with many of our clients is this notion of the race to zero. So, you know, ETFs becoming cheaper and cheaper. I mean, I even remember the days at another firm that I used to work for. That was our biggest, kind of branding promotion piece. We were the cheapest in every respective Lipper category when it came to an ETF. Do you think it's a little bit overblown in terms of kind of how people are thinking about, price, especially in a more DOL-oriented type of world?
Well, I mean, look, I'm not going to say price isn't important, but it's important. But if you look at ETFs relative to each other, just in general, they're relatively cheap to start with.
Right.
And the price of an ETF should not be your decision point. That should not be your first decision point. It comes back to, what do you want to accomplish? When I'm investing in something, I'm looking for an outcome.
Yeah.
What is that outcome? Let me find the ETFs that match first with that outcome, figure out what they do and which one makes sense for what I'm trying to accomplish.
Right.
After that, then you can focus on things like maybe there's two that are identical. Well, if they're identical, then you can choose the cheaper one. But most of the time, that outcome is very different. And so if you're looking for ETF A versus B, B might be cheaper, but have a very different outcome than you're looking for.
Right.
And it doesn't make sense to choose it that way. What really makes sense is to really understand what you're trying to accomplish, buy the ETF based on that, and then implement in the portfolio. If you looked at the expense ratio, if one's 25 basis points and one's 35 basis points, over time on $1 million, that difference is not that big.
Mm-hmm.
But the return difference between those two can be dramatic. And it's really understanding that so you can pick the right investment.
I think that's also well said. So I'm going to just finish up our conversation. I think this has been absolutely great. Just to talk a little bit more about American Century. So, you guys have filed for a number of ETFs out there.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like you guys are going to move forward at some point with that. But what's really kind of the guiding principles behind a firm like American Century getting into the ETF business?
So what makes sense for a firm like American Century is to try to do what we do well, right? The DNA of the firm. So for example, what we want to do is there's different funds out there, there's different platforms, things that we do that we are known for, that people know us for. What makes sense for that is, one, does it fit the ETF world? Now, it won't be even close to the fund or the same, but is there some piece of DNA that we can take with it? Mm-hmm. Two, is there something in the ETF world we can do differently that could be better? The whole goal of our products is to create outcome-oriented solutions. So just use income as the example.
Yeah.
If a client's looking for income or you're looking for income, can we create a better income solution that exists today, and put it out there in a way that fits the way we would manage money? And that's really the goal. If we can find that outcome-oriented solution that makes sense, that we think is better, or a better mousetrap, for lack of a better phrase, that's what we want to look for. And what we really want to solve for are client problems. How do we address different issues that really can help the end user, right?
Right.
The advisor buying it can easily explain it to the client, and the client will understand why they have it. And that's really what we're trying to accomplish.